So you're thinking about buying a log splitter, but you're on the fence because you're not sure if it's a worthwhile investment.
Today, we're going to take a look at the good points and the bad points about renting versus purchasing a log splitter to help you make the best decision.
The first thing to consider when buying a log splitter is how much wood do you need to split and how often do you need to do it. This can be an important thing to consider when you're thinking about buying a log splitter versus renting a log splitter. Now, if you're the type of person that has all your rounds already sawed up, ready to go at the beginning of the season, and you're ready to split them all at once, rental of a log splitter might be the way to go. It is certainly more cost effective when you're first starting out because you can get all your wood chopped up for the entire season. But as you rent a log splitter year after year, eventually the cost of the rental is going to outweigh the purchase. So if it's something that you're looking at using on a long-term basis, I would recommend purchase over rental every time. But if you're just trying to get a basic familiarity with log splitters, or you're doing it for the first time and you're not sure if a log splitter is right for you, then renting one for the weekend could be a good option. A situation where renting a log splitter makes a lot of sense is if you have a cabin that maybe you're renting, or maybe you own the cabin and you use it for hunting or fishing. You're not going to want to store a log splitter at your cabin, and you may not have the space for it, and you certainly don't want to waste your time doing maintenance on a product that you're only going to use a handful of times a year. It's great to be able to rent a log splitter to split up the wood you're going to need for the season of hunting and then return it to the store to let somebody else maintain it and store it. So in that situation, you'll spend less time fussing with maintaining the log splitter and more time up in the tree stand. Another thing a lot of people don't think about when it comes to either purchasing or renting a log splitter is the type of wood that they're going to be splitting. And I'm not talking about the different varieties of trees. I'm actually talking about a nice, beautiful chopped round that you can split with an axe, no problem, versus those pain in the butt, gnarly, knotty crotch of trees that have branches shooting off of them. If you've ever tried to split one of those with an axe, it is extremely frustrating. It is extremely difficult. That is why purchasing a log splitter and having one on hand can come in super handy for those really annoying, gnarly pieces of wood. Even if I'm splitting wood by hand for camping, if I'm over on the other side of the property, if I come across big nasty pieces that I just don't want to deal with the axe, I will just set those aside, and later on when I have time, I'll come gather them all up, run them back to the wood splitting station, fire this baby up, and make quick work of them with no problem. The log splitter definitely can get through the most burliest, naughtiest of horrible wood that your axe is never going to touch. A big factor in helping you decide whether you want to rent or purchase a log splitter is your access to wood year round on a continual basis. So here I own 40 acres of land in the Northwoods of Wisconsin, and needless to say, trees are a constant issue. There's always a tree waiting to fall, a tree that has fallen, a tree that's endangering a structure, or trees that have fallen in the path that you can't get your equipment down that need to be dealt with. So I like the log splitter because of the frequency that I use it. I'm constantly year round using this log splitter to split up the rounds that I cut just from maintaining my property alone. It's a great way for me to stay on top of my winter needs for log splitting, and it makes it so much faster. I really like to chop up the rounds when they're nice and fresh, because when you break them up and split them into smaller pieces, they dry a little bit faster, which means they're ready for the stove that much quicker. So let's talk about the thing that we're all trying to avoid, which is age and disability. If you're getting older, a log splitter is going to become more appealing as the years go on. And this is what happened to me. I'm pushing 40. I have a rotator cuff injury. I don't mind swinging an axe if I'm going camping to split up the wood that I'm going to need for a weekend. But for me to split everything by hand that I'm going to need for the whole winter for my wood stove in my home is not something that I'm interested in doing anymore. So that's why I decided to get the log splitter on board, and man alive, has this thing saved my back and my shoulders. So if you have any kind of aches and pains or injury, a log splitter could definitely be a great helping hand to get the job done. The one thing I would recommend if you're purchasing a log splitter is make sure that you have somewhere indoors, whether it's a shed, a garage, a pole barn, somewhere where this piece of equipment can be sheltered from the elements, because you don't want to store this outside. Now, you saw at the beginning of the clip, I had a nice cover on it. That's because for the past 2 days I've been using this splitter, but after today, the weekend's over, the cover's going back on, and I'm actually going to haul this log splitter back to the garage to put it in storage, because it doesn't really handle the elements well when it's left outside unprotected. So if you don't have somewhere where you can store your log splitter in a covered area to keep the snow and rain away from it, then that would be a situation under which you might want to consider renting one until you do have adequate space for storage. But if you guys want to know what I think about this Champion 27-ton log splitter, I'm going to post up the review right over here, and I'll see you guys over on that one.